The Battle of Berlin, waged in the final months of the Second World War, stands as a turning point in global history, marking the end of the conflict in Europe. The events leading up to this monumental battle are a complex tapestry of political maneuvering, military strategy, and the march of Allied forces toward the heart of Nazi Germany. In this video, we will delve into the pivotal moments that set the stage for the Battle of Berlin, examining the key factors that shaped the final confrontation between the Allies and the Axis powers. By early 1945, the Eastern Front had become a theater of relentless conflict, with the Soviet Red Army advancing steadily westward. The German forces, already weakened by years of war and stretched thin across multiple fronts, found themselves facing the overwhelming might of the Soviet military machine. The fall of Warsaw, the liberation of Poland, and the Soviet push through the Baltic states set the stage for the eventual encirclement of Berlin. As the Red Army closed in on Berlin, Adolf Hitler and his generals faced the harsh reality of impending defeat. The German military apparatus, once formidable, was now in retreat on multiple fronts. Hitler's strategic decisions, marked by a mix of delusion and desperation, included the ill-fated Ardennes offensive and a refusal to allow tactical retreats that could have preserved resources for the defense of Berlin. Simultaneously, the Western Allies, led by the United States, Great Britain, and their allies, were making significant strides in the West. The Normandy invasion in June 1944 had marked a turning point, and the Allies steadily pushed the German forces back across France and into Germany. The convergence of Allied forces from both East and West tightened the noose around Berlin. Internally, Germany was grappling with political instability and ideological fractures. The failed assassination attempt on Hitler in July 1944 highlighted dissent within the German military, while the Nazi regime faced increasing opposition from its own citizens. The crumbling Nazi infrastructure added an additional layer of chaos to the German war effort. In February 1945, the leaders of the Allied powers, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin, convened at the Yalta Conference. Here, the fate of post-war Europe was discussed, including the division of Germany into occupation zones. The decisions made at Yalta further fueled the urgency of the Allies to press on toward Berlin, aiming to secure strategic advantages in the post-war landscape. The Battle of Berlin, waged from April 16 to May 2, 1945, stands as one of the most significant and climactic engagements in combat history. As Allied forces closed in on the German capital, Berlin became the epicenter of a ferocious struggle that ultimately sealed the fate of Nazi Germany. Berlin, the political and administrative heart of Nazi Germany, held immense symbolic and strategic importance. As the Allies converged on the city from the east and west, its capture became a critical objective. Controlling Berlin meant dealing a decisive blow to the Nazi regime and securing a key geopolitical position in the heart of Europe. The Soviet Red Army, under the command of Marshal Georgy Zhukov, launched a massive assault on Berlin from the east. The Eastern Front had been a cauldron of conflict, with the Soviets steadily advancing through Eastern Europe. The Siege of Berlin marked the culmination of this relentless march, with the Red Army's artillery bombardments and infantry attacks creating a formidable challenge for the German defenders. The Battle of Berlin is renowned for its brutal street-to-street and house-to-house combat. The city's urban landscape became a labyrinth of destruction, with both German and Soviet forces engaged in intense close-quarters fighting. The iconic image of the Reichstag, with Soviet soldiers hoisting the Soviet flag atop its ruins, symbolized the hard-fought victory and the end of the Nazi regime. As the Allies closed in, Adolf Hitler made his last stand in the Führer bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery. With the Nazi leadership in disarray and Germany on the brink of collapse, Hitler's decisions became increasingly erratic. On April 30, 1945, facing imminent defeat, Hitler committed suicide, marking a symbolic end to the Nazi era. I just want to add in that there is some debate on whether Hitler actually died during this conflict. It turns out his body was actually never recovered, which leads to many conspiracies, but that's a video for another day. The Battle of Berlin had a devastating toll on both military personnel and civilians. The city, already scarred by years of war, witnessed widespread destruction as a result of the intense fighting. Civilian casualties were high, and the Battle of Berlin remains a stark reminder of the human cost of war and the consequences of totalitarian aggression. Casualties are estimated to be about 925,000 German, both military and civilian, and 361,000 for the Allies. The fall of Berlin signaled the end of World War II in Europe. The Allies celebrated victory in Europe on May 8, 1945, marking the unconditional surrender of Germany. The Battle of Berlin left an indelible mark on history, shaping the post-war order, the division of Germany, and the onset of the Cold War. The Battle of Berlin, a climactic confrontation in the waning days of the Second World War, encapsulated the intensity, brutality, and strategic significance of the conflict. The Soviet assault from the east, the desperate defense of the city by German forces, and the symbolic fall of the Nazi regime in the heart of its capital marked a watershed moment in history. The Battle of Berlin serves as a reminder of the human cost of war and the resilience required to confront and overcome totalitarian aggression. If you enjoyed, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We upload multiple history videos a week on anything from this video you're seeing today to videos on ancient history.